Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the presser for cholera for Harare Metropolitan Province. My name is Permanent Secretary Tafazwa Mguti in the Office of the President and Cabinet, responsible for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Harare Metropolitan Province. As the Secretary of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Harare Metropolitan Province, covering the city of Harare, Chitungwiza Municipality, Airport Local Board, and Rua, I'm here in alerting the general public of the current cholera outbreak within our province, Harare Metropolitan Province. I'm therefore advising members of the public to be on high alert for symptoms of watery diarrhea and to report to the nearest health facilities for treatment. Please, we urge you not to ignore or dismiss these symptoms. As of the 19th of May 2023, we recorded 288 cases, suspected cholera cases, and 84 culture-confirmed cholera cases within the province. Confirmed cholera cases have been reported in the suburbs of Budiriro, Glenview, Dzivarasekwa, Mount Pleasant, Mbare, and Waterfalls. Please currently note that these are the areas where cholera cases have emanated from: Budiriro, the whole of Glenview, the whole of Dzivarasekwa, Mount Pleasant, the whole of Mbare, and Waterfalls. Prevention and control measures have been put in place, and all districts in the province's emergency preparedness, response teams, and systems have been activated. This constitutes our Provincial Civil Protection Unit or Committee. In view of the above, the province would like to remind the general public of the spread of cholera diseases. For prevention of cholera, people are advised to do the following. We are urging people to wash their hands thoroughly with soap under safe running water before, during, and after preparing food, before and after eating food or feeding children, after using the toilets. Please ensure that your children, wash their hands after using the toilet, especially at school and in gatherings. We are also recommending that parents ensure that their children have got soap or sanitizers within their carry cases as they go to school, or after cleaning their children's removing diapers, especially to the mothers who are nursing. Please may you also ensure that you have responsible disposal of your diapers. In this case, we are also seeing the spread of cholera through mothers who are not being responsible enough as they dispose diapers which will be carrying their baby's waste. We are also recommending, after taking care of someone with cholera, you continuously sanitize and wash your hands. We are also adding the food preparation and handling. That means that as you cook the food, cook it well, keep it covered, and eat it hot. Please avoid eating cold foods, especially at gatherings. Plates and utensils must be kept clean and stored away at all times. We are also urging those who sell fruit and those who are buying fruit and vegetables to ensure that they are buying in safe and clean places with running water. To the vendors, please may ensure that where you are trading, it's close to safe running water with bins and places where you are readily cleaning your food, your fruits and vegetables. In terms of drinking and the use of safe water, we are urging the general public to ensure that they boil all water, including cancer water, or treated with chlorine or other water treatment chemicals. We are also urging them to pour water from the container to avoid using cups in the water containers, especially within waiting rooms, receptions, and other places of general public attendance. We are also calling upon those who are in the water business, those who sell bulk water, to ensure that they are selling their bulk water from designated and licensed places. The Zimbabwe Republic Police is going to ensure that regular inspections are done to those who are selling bulk water. We've had cases of some people who are collecting bulk water in unsafe streams in areas where there are best water pipes and onward selling it to residents, and some of the water may be contaminated. So the general public need to ensure they buy bulk water from reputable suppliers. Use of toilets and latrines. We urge the general public to ensure at home and within their office workspace and within our schools, we keep the toilets and latrines clean at all times. The washing of hands, soap should be availed in general public toilets, and safe water, both to drink and to wash their hands. Where cholera is suspected, you are advised to drink lots of fluids, such as salt and sugar solution, made with safe water or oral rehydration solutions. This can be found across all pharmacies within the province. And we urge you to visit the nearest health facility for prompt treatment. If anyone has watery diarrhea within your family or workspace, please immediately report to the nearest health facility or call the Ministry of Health and Child Care Public Health Emergency Operations Center. The toll-free number is 2019. I will repeat that, 2019, for assistance and guidance. During this outbreak, all local authorities, that is the City of Harare, Chitungwiza Municipality, Ruwa Local Board, Airport Local Board, have been directed to implement the following measures with immediate effect. Number one, to stop unlicensed and unclean food outlets from operating in open spaces. We know there are people who are cooking sadza and other relishes, especially around areas where there's construction or areas which are populated, including bus stops, and at 4th Street and Market Square. These are going to be stopped with immediate effect to avoid the spread of cholera. Those who are operating unlicensed should ensure they approach the local authorities to get places which are licensed to operate from. All shops, office parks, restaurants, malls, and food outlets must have clean and functional toilets with running water. We are aware that a number of food chains, food outlets within Harare Metropolitan Province, especially within the city of Harare, are operating their restaurants and other shops without functional toilets. And this is causing also the spread of cholera. If your shop, your restaurant, your office building, or your mall does not have functional toilets, our health departments and the ministry are going to shut down that building until you rectify those shortcomings. All schools are to ensure that toilets which are used by the children and teachers, as well as visitors, have running water and soap for children and visitors to wash their hands at all times. If there are any schools which do not have running water or functional clean toilets, that school will be closed until that has been rectified. All office buildings and workspaces, especially office parks, are to have functional toilets for visitors and for their staff, and to ensure that they have running water at all times. Please stand guided by these protocols as they are going to be enforced under the Civil Protection Act, and that gives us the right and the local authorities to enforce all due processes. Let me confirm now that we do not switch off water during shutdown in security places, in water pumping stations, and other sensitive areas that can cause a security or public health hazard. If there is a power outage, it is maybe due to a fault, but Zimbabwe Electricity Transmission Distribution Companies, ZEDC, are also members of the Civil Protection Committee. So everything that we've said, they've been given the mandate to ensure that all pumping stations are pumping water non-stop. I think the delay which might be there sometimes is maybe the delivery of chemicals, but that be the case, that should not be able to affect us. If we are running a business, you should always have a backup plan. And as it is, we have other places where there is water, but the toilets are non-functional. So we've got two cases. We have companies that are deliberately, or shops, outlets which sell food. Most of the most popular places are not cleaning their toilets. And we know that according to the health standards, they're supposed to be regularly cleaning their toilets and having an inspection chart behind their doors. And so it's just pure negligence which is coming out of most operators. Currently, the challenge, if you look at Mavuku Tafara, most of the reticulation system, which is around places like Mavuku Tafara, if you go as far as Heathcliff, that system is mostly old and eroded. So some of the challenges, we cannot fix them now. But water, I'm sure the city of Harare has got a plan to ensure that, especially the schools, we've said that we need to take bowsers so that children can have safe water, which they are cleaning and using their hands. But unfortunately, even those who are running businesses there, as you get your shop license, it's still paramount that you need to be able to have water. We cannot control people who are selling water from unlicensed places. We can't stop that. But what we can do is enforce to ensure that at regular roadblocks and other places, you produce your paperwork to show that the water that you're supplying is actually clean and safe water. But be that we are in a state of a pandemic, as much as we understand that the city is struggling to supply everyone with water, we can't still allow large gatherings where we know that there's a risk of having cholera.
Most of the cholera that we are seeing in Harare is coming from what we refer to as a point source. So it is within the local area from where the cholera is coming from. And of course, water plays a very critical part in as far as cholera is concerned. It is all linked to the contamination of water.
But you also have to know that in a major of the places that we've spoken about, we have people who are drilling boreholes next to, especially in areas where people are constructing. Ideally, we do not recommend under the Regional Town and Country Planning Act that without a proper structure, you go and reside where you would have been allocated a stand. So if you look at most of the places where there are cabins, people have built shallow wells, people have got shallow blade toilets around Budiriro area. And this definitely is going to affect the water table. So if people who are also drilling, doing wells right next to a latrine, and these are some of the things where we've started now sending people to say, let's shut down those wells. Ideally, we expect people to be either digging a well or putting a bowl somewhere which is far from a toilet, and this is some of the areas which has caused. So the places we have announced here, that being Budiriro, Glenview, Dzwarasekwa, Mount Pleasant, Mbari, and Waterfalls, we actually have point areas where the cholera emanated from, and our teams have gone in to rectify those places, either by closing down those wells or by basically also being able to put other measures to ensure that it doesn't continue spreading. But as you all know, a person can get cholera in Budiriro, like how we got it in Mount Pleasant, and travel to Mount Pleasant and be able to use the toilets there, maybe at a food outlet. Someone else comes there, you use the same toilet, and you now also have cholera, and you now travel to Chitungwiza. So cholera as it is something which is very dangerous in the fact that even if we contain an area where we found it, as long as there's human movement, the risk is still high. I can clearly say that you are correct to say it's a primitive disease, but as it is currently, as you know from the statistics in the recent month or so, we've had numerous outbreaks of cholera across the continent. As it is, as Zimbabwe, and I'll speak on Harare Metropolitan Province, we have put in a plan for short-term, medium to long-term in terms of water. As it is currently, I think the plans to bring water into Nora Valley Dam are at an advanced stage. We are also praying that the Kunji Dam is finished as soon as possible, because that should be able to help us with our northern and eastern suburbs. As it is, we can confirm that government has found an investor for Muda Dam. We are now at advanced stages at contract discussions. And if Muda Nyatsime also comes into play, it will address the western and southern challenges that we have of water. However, as you well know, the challenges of water within the city of Harare, which provides water for all the other dormitory towns and other lower local authorities, is not a today's problem. As it is, we have failed to maintain our water reticulation system over a long period of time. that some of the areas, even if there's enough water, like Greendale, it's not going to be easy to put water there until we run new pipes completely for water reticulation. So these are some of the issues that needs to be done. As you know, according to the Urban Councils Act, there is the water account which should be ring-fenced, and that money should be going towards servicing of equipment and the upgrade of water reticulation systems. But we also have 52,600 illegal homes in Harare Metropolitan Province, with 26,000 being in Chitungwiza. So that alone, imagine 26,000 in Chitungwiza. They've all kinds of created their own water bodies, their own water system. And of 52,000 illegal homes, that means they do not have council water. They've all made a plan. So as it is, we are all sitting on a time bomb because we have 52,600 homes where we now need to know where they're getting their water from and how basically we can be able to mitigate should that happen. Our greatest fear right now, and what we are working 24 hours a day to do, is to ensure that we do not have that pandemic reaching into places like Epworth, where we already have a lot of marginalized communities. So our team, Civil Protection Unit, is working flat out on the ground, and we can assure the general public that we'll do everything in our power to ensure that we manage this disease. We've done it in the past, but the rates of infections has increased over a short period of time, and hence why we've called for this pressure, so that as journalists and the media, you help us spread the consciousness that we are now in a situation where we need to be really careful, otherwise this might get out of hand. I can confirm, I don't know where you're getting your sources, but I can confirm that every bore which was done under the presidential drilling program, which is 13 in the entire province, 13 are the ones which are functioning, were done with the guidance of ZINWA, and they were not done in places which are contaminated. But we have a lot of drilling companies. The procedure is when you want to drill a bore, ZINWA needs to guide you. To those who have drilled boreholes, you actually pay to ZINWA, and ZINWA allows you to be able to go ahead and drill. The majority of the boreholes that we have, which are being drilled across the entire province, it's willy-nilly. We have people drilling boreholes in wetlands and then pumping the water to their houses. We have people drilling boreholes in informal settlements. So I'll reiterate again that if it's an informal settlement, it makes it so complicated for us to be able to monitor what is going on in an informal settlement. I would like to put it on record that is Harare Metropolitan Province. We have declared and continue to declare a zero-tolerance policy on lawlessness and corruption. And I would like to state it on the record as the Secretary for Provincial Affairs and Devolution that anyone found wanting will be arrested and prosecuted based on the respective laws that they would have breached. Strong action is going to be taken against local authorities that are defying the various laws and abusing their offices. I'll point in question two main cases that our office has requested for a probe to be initiated. It is with regret that we announce that in Chitungwiza we are going to be instituting a probe immediately into a resolution that has been passed by the local authority, the councilors, where the council is approved for graves to be given as allowances to councillors. A resolution was passed for City of Chitungwiza councillors for each councillor to be receiving 2 graves as an allowance per month, and onward they've been selling the graves for $500 to $600 respectively to mourners. It must be put on record that according to the Cemetery Act, only the local authority through the administrative structures can be able to sell graves to mourners and to the bereaved. As it is currently, there are more graves being sold outside the system of council than those which need to be sold from the council. We are asking members of the public please not to approach councillors or any other middlemen for graves, and we have directed the municipality of Chitungwiza to ensure that graves are easily accessible by those who will be mourning and would like to acquire graves. To those who cannot afford graves, the policy on the Cemetery Act still applies that you approach the district offices and you apply for a free grave to those under social welfare, and those graves are constantly being approved by my office and the respective district offices. So as it is, we're going to be announcing a probe into this. We are going to be investigating as to the nature, but this is under the Criminal Codification Act from Section 171 to Section 174, where this is criminal abuse of office, where one tends to make decisions in their favor for monetary beneficiation. I have to take note that all 25 councillors are guilty of this, as they've all been receiving these allowances on graves. Apart from that, we also have the same situation in Harare City Council, where graves are being sold from within $300 to $800. Whilst several arrests have been done in the past, there's been a spirit of non-cooperation from the city of Harare, which has led to the failure of prosecution of staff members that CID would have arrested. With this in mind, again, members of the public are being urged that graves at Warren Hills and other places within the city of Harare are not to be sold through councillors or any other middleman, but they should approach Roy and Martin and be able to pay for the graves in Zimbabwe dollars, in the local currency, as according to the budget which was approved by the Honourable Minister of Local Government and Public Works. As it is, again, would like to announce that for the city of Harare, we are almost complete the investigation team into the issue of city parking, and among other issues, they've been looking into the ownership, they've been looking into the equitable accountability of some of the monies that have been collected by city parking, and the justification for the high rates, and recommendations which will be passed to the Honourable Minister of State. So once that report has been done, it will be furnished with the members of the media so that the general public may be able to know. We also have a big issue with the city of Harare, where despite the Auditor General's report and the Parliamentary Committee's recommendations, the city of Harare is pressing on acquiring a system worth 57 million United States dollars as an enterprise resource planning ERP system and a billing system to that effect. I would like to put it on notice that in 2021, the European Union, combined with the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, donated to the government of Zimbabwe the development of a local authority digital system, LADS. Today, LADS is being used by the city of Mutare, and it's equally meeting their requirements, and which has led to the city of Mutare being able to be debt-free and also be able to manage their land allocation, especially their waiting list, the management of markets and cemeteries. However, within Harare Metropolitan Province, since 2021, none of the local authorities have implemented the system, which costs less than $50,000 per local authority, including maintenance. So justification for acquiring a system of 57 million is not going to be happening under our watch. According to Section 9, Chapter 9 of the Constitution, it is the mandate of all public offices and local authorities included to ensure there's transparency and that there's governance of all the public infrastructure and funds which are alluded under them. As it is concerning that we are now reaching 4 years with local authorities within the province failing to produce audited financial results. With that in mind, the Office of the Minister of State is going to be calling upon Treasury to review that only local authorities that we have provided audited accounts may benefit from devolution funds. With over $1 billion Zimbabwean dollars over the last 3 years now given to local authorities, one would assume that by now would have audited accounts. It is the responsibility as the principal under the Constitution of the provincial government and provincial councils that the local authorities should fully be able to disclose to members of the public and also to the provincial council and all other structures on how they are managing funds. City of Harare is the major culprit who has failed to produce audited accounts over a long period of time. We are asking, therefore, for the local authorities to ensure that they prioritize acquittal of funds received and prioritize in terms of creating priorities in terms of their expenditure, and also ensuring that they are fully accountable to members of the public by producing audited accounts. It is not the norm that a local authority should go for another financial year without a full audit of the previous year. That being said, we'll continue to interrogate and encourage all politicians that as we go towards the elections, those who will be rerunning and those who are not, to ensure that we encourage them that due diligence and governance should be prioritized at all times. And this exciting looting or this exciting abuse of office where resolutions which are contradicting the Criminal Codification Act are passed, remains a criminal act, and those who are found wanting will equally be arrested. So as it is currently, the issue of reporting lies entirely, anyone can report a crime to SAC, and then RRB, which is a case number, is immediately generated. From our case on the governance structure, we have to ensure that each time decisions are made, they are made within the best interest of the people and of the residents of that area. Apart from that, each time a full council meeting is held, all resolutions have to reflect on the various discussions that councillors have had with the residents. So as it is currently, you'd find that whilst people are arrested, that remains to the courts. But as it is currently, the things like resolution being passed which benefit councillors, those are quite straightforward. That is criminal abuse of office, and that will be going before the courts, and likewise they'll be adjudicated and basically prosecuted where necessary. But as it is, the job of the police and ZRP is to continue ensuring advocacy for us to be having that. What I can also announce is in the next coming few days, we're going to be announcing the establishment of integrity committees. I'm sure to those who attended the ZAC announcement on integrity committees, which are already placed in other provinces, is to ensure that each local authority has got an integrity committee, which has got various tools that they use. We should be able to prevent or alert or advocate against corruption. But as it is, the first police or the first respondents to anti-corruption is the council itself. They are supposed to be there as the governing body. The council is like a board of directors. So as management do anything, they are the first who should also be able to raise these issues. But what we are seeing now is in reverse. We are seeing councillors actually making decisions against management recommendations, and that starts creating problems for us. From our office, we are very clear. We do not comment about something that we are not informed about. And in this case, we are making this announcement because we know there are further efforts to even go in as far as payment terms. And the mayor himself has reported to us the current status where they are, and that's why we are raising now an investigation to say why are people continuously engaging these companies. But apart from that, why we're now doing an investigation, there are a number, whilst we have stopped it now, remember my statement is that we are investigating the issue. We have stopped it, but we're investigating. We're also investigating because the processes which were followed were contravening the Procurement Act. For example, some of the bidders provided flights, accommodation, allowances, which is against fair bidding practices. And the delegation which went, if you're not aware, actually traveled without cabinet authority. So that in itself also is another issue which needs to be tackled. But apart from that, the bidding process for the 6 companies which were shortlisted was not done in the way that it was supposed to be done. A lot of corners were cut and a lot of resolutions were passed on some of the actions were taken without full council resolutions. So this is why we're saying we don't want to interfere with investigations, but there's a lot of things which were not done correctly with that transaction. And that must be a lesson to all local authorities that we should follow due processes. The fact that price is stopped does not in any way make them not guilty for whatever they've done in the past, because already public funds, a lot of public funds have been already utilized through a process which was not following due processes. So that will need to be investigated.